we are live in the Villages here in Florida for a very enthusiastic event here. Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, America First, Brian Glenn, Liz Willis here with you and we're happy to be here back in the beautiful state of Florida.
Thank you, Brian. I'm tuning in right now. Let us know if you have questions. I want to start reading those out. Don't forget, Right Side Broadcasting Network is almost entirely viewer funded, meaning we rely on your donations to come to events like this and to host them. There's a number of ways you can help support us. The first one is by clicking that $sign in the bottom right-hand corner of the YouTube Super Chat. That'll bring your donation up highlighted for the whole chat to see, and we'll be able to give you a shout-out. The second way is by going to our website, www.rsbnetwork.com/donate. The third way is by mailing a check. This is a non-electronic way to make a donation. You can do that by going to by sending the check, to 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama 36830. Moderators, thank you for joining us, keeping this chat room fun, clean, and family friendly. If you don't mind dropping that address and those links in the chat room below to help show the viewers how they can help support us and how they can get us to cover some more of these events. Again, it's really cool being here because so many of the Trump campaign, I guess not volunteers, but workers, people that did their media, their social media, their planning, the event coordination, they're all helping run this event today. So this is the closest thing we can get to being at a Trump rally right now. Even the music is like we're at a Trump rally. Albeit much smaller, but it is standing room only. The doors are closed. They're not letting anyone else in here. And there's a massive crowd of people outside. We could barely find a parking spot. And this is the Villages, Florida. So if this goes to show the type of energy that we have so far away from midterms, I mean, we've got a long way to go, but the energy is still here. So it's really incredible to see. I've yet to see a Biden event like this.
No, absolutely, Liz. The reason why what you're seeing right now is because the last 100 days or so, it's been completely garbage coming out of Washington, and people are tired of America going from America first to now to America maybe third, fourth, or fifth. So these people are fired up at the notion that let's get back to putting America first. And of course, both Matt and Marjorie are really on the forefront of pushing that America first agenda, which has been so popular. We just saw some numbers today come out about the unemployment. We saw some job numbers, a major disappointment on the job front. It's just depressing news is coming out on the economic landscape here. It's a complete reversal from what we were doing back in 2019. So that's why I think the excitement is so high now, because people want a little bit of hope. They want to know that is there a chance that we can move forward and put America first? And of course, that's what it's all about. And it's good to be here in Florida. Now, I live in Texas when I'm home, and Texas and Florida are basically in the same camp. They're one of these states that are open. There's excitement. People are living life again. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. Now, mind you, if you're not familiar with the Villages is probably one of the largest retirement communities in the country. It's probably the largest for sure in the state of Florida. But it's a retirement community. These are individuals, these are seniors. This is a 55 plus community. I have never seen the level of enthusiasm as we're seeing now coming from seniors, people that have lived a life, a very experienced life. They've seen the highs and lows that life can provide, and it seems like they're very optimistic about what's to come, and I just love it. I told you earlier when I was walking around the Villages, I love this community. I love the enthusiasm.
Might be moving here sooner than later,
You know,
Brian.
4 years away, I'm for 55 plus. Sign me up, Liz. I'll move here tomorrow. I love it. But I just love to see these people celebrate life.
I do too. It really is fantastic. I want to jump on stage and give a shout out. I want them to turn around and wave to the cameras, but I don't want to get arrested, so I'm not going to do that. Let's talk about something. You've got an event coming up in Phoenix on the 15th. Can you tell our audience a little bit more about that, and if they're in the area, how they can attend?
Yeah, wonderful. It's called Freedom 515, and it's a nationwide event. Many cities across the country are doing this. And if you go to Freedom 515, there's a complete list of cities. we're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona. And of course, there's a lot going on in Arizona right now in terms of the election and things like that. So there's a lot going on there. And plus, you know what? Arizona has been one of these states that it's always been so active for RSBN as far as events. And we just love the state of Arizona. We love Phoenix, and we're going to be out there. So for complete details on the event and other stuff, wherever you're watching us right now, because someone pointed out on social media that if you live in, Austin, Texas, well, guess what? There's one there. If you live in Huntington Beach, California, there's one there as well. So go to the website, freedom515.com, and look for a city near you and go check it out. But we're going to be there celebrating freedom, celebrating life and liberty and all the things that we celebrate in this country. And I can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. But right before that, on May 10th, Right Side Broadcasting Network is going to be in Mitchell, South Dakota at the world's only Corn Palace. Really excited to see what that is like. I have no idea. But this is the Frank Speech Rally with Mike Lindell. I texted him this morning. I wanted to make sure this was legitimate. No one was using his name because I hadn't heard from him about it. And he said absolutely. He's expecting maybe 10,000 people showing up at the world's only Corn Palace in Mitchell, South Dakota. This event is going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. and you can go to Frank Speech Rally's website by going to frankspeech.com. Check it out. And we will be there broadcasting that live to you guys. I want to remind y'all, we have an incredible deal with MyPillow.com. Mike Lindell is an incredible patriot. Go to www.mypillow.com and use code RSBN for up to 66% off your entire order. Not only does this show Mike that you're supporting him, but it also tells him who sent you, that RSBN sent you, and he actually gives a portion of those sales back to us here as a network. This allows us, with your donations, to continue to thrive and cover events like this and cover his Frank Speech Rally. So it's a win-win situation. You get products, incredible products back in your hands, from pillows, mattress toppers, dream sheets, bathrobes, slippers. They are absolutely incredible, and more. You can also use that code at mystore.com. That's right. You can go to www.mystore.com and use code RSBN for up to 66% off your order there. They have almost everything you can think of. I know they're working on building it up to somewhat rival Amazon in terms of made in America products and more entrepreneurial style stores. But you can get flags, flagpoles, and a lot of different patriotic gear. Make sure you're stocked up for Memorial Day weekend and 4th of July weekend. Two really big festivities coming up. We want to make sure that you show your patriotism, and it's just going everywhere.
Hey Liz, the other day I was at the grocery store and this guy stopped me. He said, hey, I just want to let you know I bought one of those slippers you were talking about, and they're so comfortable. And
he recognized you?
He recognized me from the grocery store. He didn't have them on, but he swore up and down they are the best pair of slippers he's ever bought. And so I wanted to give him a shout out. So I think his name was James at the Kroger in
probably my brother
in Frisco, Texas. So thanks, James, for ordering those slippers, and they are the most comfortable slippers you can put.
Our CEO, Joe Steele, is one of the pickiest men I've ever met when it comes to shoes and what he's going to put on his feet. He says, don't hate me if I misquote, but basically he never thought he would wear slippers in his life, but now he doesn't want to take these off. He loves them. So you can check all of those out by going to www.mypillow.com. Use code RSBN, and they have a tab on the front page that says women's slippers and men's slippers. So a lot of different items to choose from for each. Now, something came out today, and it was so funny watching the different news outlets cover it. I believe it was CNBC, possibly, I could be wrong, but they looked at the April jobs report, and he didn't even believe the numbers. They were so bad. In the middle of a live speech, he said, hold on, let me just verify this. He's like, yeah, that's it. It was projected to hit 1 million new jobs in the past month, and it was a measly 266,000 jobs were added back to the economy. Unemployment rose again to 6.1%. I mean, it's a joke. Biden gave a press release after that, and he basically was smiling and talked about kids going to preschool and community college, which I just, instead of tackling the issue head on, what do you think about all this?
No, absolutely. And I tell you what, Jen Psaki said just the other day that basically that President Biden doesn't need to do any more press conference and take open questions from reporters. And I don't know when the last time we had any press secretary advise the president, the sitting president, not to take live questions from a reporter. None of this makes any sense at all. It is the least transparent administration that I think we have ever seen, ever. And the fact that they were so far off on the job numbers and so far off on what's happening on the economic front, I don't even know what to say from there. So to your point, I don't even think they know what they're doing. I honestly, I really don't. And I had heard that Jen Psaki was going to move on, I think, after next year, maybe, and find something else. Maybe she's had enough of the accountability. Because, the American people, we want accountability right now. We want to know what's going on. And Liz, we hadn't even talked about the border. And I know you and I stay on the immigration crisis on a daily basis. But I think we're day, 46? I think it's day 45 or 46 that Kamala Harris has been in charge of the border crisis, and yet it just show up down there.
No, absolutely, it's laughable. Neither of them are allowed to talk to reporters and have conferences. Psaki also announced just this past week that she will be stepping down in her role as press secretary after 1 year. So not even a year into it, and she's already ready to retire and get out of there. Not a good look. It's not that she's being fired or let go. It's that she doesn't even want to do it. So, the type of just commitment issues that they have right there, it blows my mind. I don't blame her. I'd step in and handle it if I need to.
Yeah, she walked into a dumpster fire, if you will, and she had to flip to the pages because she didn't know what was going on. He's not communicating with anybody. And you know what's interesting, Liz? You and I have been, on Pebble Beach there at the White House. We've seen the media. I think the media is finally starting to realize that this administration is not telling the truth, is not being transparent, they're not addressing the issues, and even the very liberal publications of you just name it, everything's liberal. I think they're getting frustrated right now.
I completely agree with you, and I can't stand it. I'm curious if you also heard, he's looking at some pictures right now, but I'll ask him, you guys can tell me, and I'll repeat it to him, but there was I think it was a week or two ago where Psaki was saying, or Biden was saying, I can't answer your questions, I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I was talking to the viewers, I'll reiterate it to you, but Biden a few weeks ago was saying, answering questions, he said, I'm really gonna get in trouble for this. Well, who are you gonna get in trouble with, Biden? Who is looking down on you? People should be answering to you. You're the president of the United States. You're not supposed to be answering to other people. So who do you think he's going to get in trouble with?
That's a great point. Well, I don't know. It's whoever this shadow government that's in charge right now. And you know what? People have often said that this is going to be an Obama 2.0. And we're starting to see that with all of the regulations. Of course, we saw what happened with this Keystone Pipeline on day 2 of the administration. That got canceled. We've seen the immigration change. We have the taxes, tax reform going back. I just heard today, and I don't have all the story on this, but now Biden is wanting to talk with Iran again and sit down with them. And so, it's just everything we saw under the Trump administration is coming undone under this administration.
It is getting so crowded here right now on my side. It's funny, people show up late. And then they just start pushing you out. So you might see some elbows flinging from a petite 5'4" brunette here in a minute. I'm getting seriously claustrophobic, so
it's interesting.
Stand by.
Hang on a second. So guys, if you're just now joining us, we are live here in the Villages for an amazing America First rally here. The excitement's in the room, feels very much like a Trump rally, and it should be. It feels like a Trump rally because Trump rallies are about excitement, it's about optimism, it's about putting America first, and that's what we have here today. Thank you so much for watching us, and if you could, please do us a big favor. Share this broadcast, tag a friend, because we're not seeing the level of engagement as of recently that we have because of social media suppression. So please, if you tag and share this broadcast, we're going to be able to beat big tech at what they're doing right now, and it's so important that you do that. Plus, it's important that we get the views, not only for the content, because we need people to understand what we're doing and what we're fighting for, but also we need to sell some pillows, and we got to fight cancel culture, and that's what you can do when you go to mypillow.com. We've talked about Mike Lindell, this true patriot, for a long time, and there's good reason for that, because he is fighting for you and I. And let me tell you something. One of the top questions I get asked is, where's Mike? How's Mike? How's he doing? And my answer to all of those questions, he's doing great, and he's fighting for you and I. And he does that on a daily basis. He puts himself out there, not only as a businessman, but a person of faith and a patriot. So help us fight cancel culture and go to mypillow.com and shop away. We just talked about the slippers a few minutes ago. I love them. I've got the towels. So I enjoy getting out of the shower and having a towel that will absolutely absorb water. Imagine that. And get you dry. So go buy the products, because that is one way to fight all of this cancel culture that we're under, that we're fighting with right now. And of course, big tech's been front and center the last couple of weeks about suppression. And of course, Facebook ruling just the other day that President Trump would not be able to get back on Facebook. But you know what? I actually said early on, I don't care that he doesn't get on Facebook. I don't care. Facebook needs Trump, but Trump does not need Facebook. He just doesn't need Facebook. Him not being on Facebook has not lost one single follower from his America First agenda. I can promise you that. So be it. Facebook, ban the President Trump for as long as you want. It doesn't really stop any one of these followers here today from supporting him. But we're glad you're joining us. All kinds of T-shirts in the crowd. We've got all kinds of pro-Trump T-shirts, pro-America T-shirts. Of course, a lot of faith-based T-shirts, and of course, that's been a key staple, I think, in all of this, has been pro-God, pro-faith, God-given rights, not government-given rights, and so that's been kind of the basis for a lot of this stuff. And here back in Texas where I live, we just had a constitutional carry passed both through, I believe, the House and the Senate. So we're going to see exactly what happens there. There's also what's called the heartbeat bill. That is a phenomenal, which basically says as soon as a heartbeat is detected by a doctor or a machine or whatever you want to categorize that abortion would not be allowed. It's called the heartbeat bill. That is, and oddly enough, Texas is not the first state to pass this. We're just going to join, I think, a handful of states that already have that. But that is a step in the right direction. That is a step in pro-life, pro-God, putting Scripture back in our lives. And I think that's what we need. And if you look at all the violence and all the anarchy we saw last summer, that is just a product of the broken family, the family structure that we have in this country. We no longer have a solid family structure. We have a very broken family structure in a lot of demographics in this country, and we see the breakdown of the nucleus family from the left. It's a constant battle. I mean, that's why we have 45 different genders according to them. It is a breakdown. And when God created, Adam and Eve, right, male and female, that's it. And so any other twisted perversion way of thinking you have from that is just not right. I'm going to move on. If I can get this young lady. Talk to you guys. You show me your picture, right? Can I see that real quickly? She tapped me on my shoulder, and she showed me a picture.
Am I on camera?
You'll be on camera, but it's okay. But I think it's. Don't worry about it. Here, I'll show it. Let me deal with this. All right, so we covered the president's speech on January 6th, and from the eclipse, we walked over to the Capitol building. Look at my head. There I am at the steps of the Capitol. There I am. Yeah, and it's so funny that you happened to put that on there. That is the back of my head. I thought that's what you were showing me. That's the back of my head.
I didn't know that was the back of your head.
And when you showed it to me, that's the ironic thing. I'm like, wait a minute, that's me.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's crazy. It's very.
Well, I mean, we got there and we realized everything had just gone bad, and then we got out. So.
Anyway, well, we're glad you're here. Glad you're having a good time. Yeah, see. You never know who you're gonna bump into out here. Is that not it? Yep. All right. We're glad you're joining us. We're here at the Villages here in Central Florida, just about an hour north of Orlando, to cover a great event. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz here for an American First agenda, and we are excited you're joining us. And you know what? I can only imagine that some of the things we're going to hear today, and of course a lot of controversial things about putting America first. A novel notion to put America first. What a controversial thing. But that's what we're going to hear today. We're going to hear about the education system, I would imagine, about the systemic, about systemic racism existing in our culture, critical race theory implemented in our schools. I would imagine we're going to hear a little bit about that today as well, and about immigration. And of course, it's been one of these things that we've been following it for several months now, ever since the immigration was rolled back. We've seen exactly what happens there. More people are coming across the border, drugs, violence, things like that. We were just down in South Texas a couple weeks ago covering that story. But so you're going to hear all of that today. You're going to hear about how we should get back to putting America first and putting the agenda of America first. And we're excited you're joining us. And if you're just now joining us, no, this is not a Trump rally, but this is about as close as you can get to a Trump rally, in my opinion.
Thanks, Brian. Great job. We have 5.2 thousand watching right now, and it's just the pre-show, so I think we're expecting to see some really good numbers, and that goes to talk a lot about what's going on in the Conservative Party right now. People are anxious to see this kind of stuff and to hear from their leaders, the leaders that are putting America first and that are standing up for America first policies, and that's exactly what Representative Matt Gaetz and Representative Marjorie Greene are doing. Of course, Matt Gaetz is for the state of Florida, and Marjorie Greene is for the state of Georgia, my home state, so it's always exciting to hear her talk. I also saw her tweet something. It said that this is the first of the America First rally tour. So I'm curious if there's going to be more of these going on, if they plan on doing a tour around the entire United States. Is it a tour between Florida and Georgia? Is this the new Florida-Georgia line? What's going on here?
What's going on here? Is this a new band that's forming right now, MG Squared? Is that what we're doing?
We can't get concerts, so we can do rallies, I'm guessing. But again, I'm excited to see kind of how they mesh together and what they have to say, the first of its kind. And it's also been rumored in the past week or so that President Trump himself is thinking about doing more rallies. So it's kind of a common theme amongst the Republican Party right now, is to get out and to keep their base energized, keep the momentum going. And then again, it's going to be these small ripples in the water that are going to eventually create a big wave and bring that energy back to take the White House back in 2024. I don't see these happening amongst liberals. I don't know if they're still scared of being amongst other people or if they just don't have the numbers in general. So it is exciting to see. Now, another thing I want to point out is if you look at Biden's daily White House press briefings or any of his YouTube videos, anything like that, it literally says that like maybe 500 people are watching and it has like 800 thumbs down and 1 thumbs up. His Twitter account has minimum followers as well. So I'm wondering where these 81 million votes came from, because they are certainly not on par with even our worst days of broadcasting. I mean, those numbers would get us nowhere. We would be so far bankrupt.
No, you're absolutely right. It does amaze me that everything they put out gets no views, gets a ton of dislikes, and they make fun of it, and then they go back and try to reverse it. They try to flip the dislikes to likes, and people screenshot it because conservatives are pretty witty like that. We're going to make sure we backtrack and have proof of all this. I'm just blown away. And you take, especially if they supposedly target kind of these younger, more, I hate to use the word hipster, or kind of something culturally popular. How come they're not catching on social media? How come they're not the biggest social media accounts in existence if they really resonate with that age demographic? I'm not seeing it, and I got to call malarkey on it. I'm just calling malarkey right now.
Malarkey all the way through. I would love to be wrong here and for it not to be this massive scheme and huge fraud situation going on, but I mean, what I see in person and what I've witnessed is just an insane red wave. So much patriotism and love for our country, love for President Trump and the candidates that he comes out and endorses and talks to. I mean, this is Matt Gaetz again and Marjorie Greene. President Trump, of course, I think what's going to go down in the history books is these monumental rallies that he had, just absolutely unbelievable rallies. And now you can see some other candidates and congressmen and women are kind of favoring that and making their own. So it's really neat to see this coming to fruition. I'm going to jump in the YouTube super chat and answer any questions you may have. You can tag me, please do. It's at Liz Willis. My name's LizWillis. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you're wondering who we are and what we're doing, we're live with Right Side Broadcasting Network, and we are live here at the first ever America First rally with Congressman Matt Gaetz and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're scheduled to take the stage here at 6:30 p.m. We are in the Villages, Florida. We flew into Orlando and had about an hour drive down here. It's been a beautiful day here. It's hot outside, and the parking lot was absolutely packed. We had to go pretty far away, almost off location, just to find a parking spot. There's people waiting to get in, but the doors are closed and they are at capacity. My only criticism, yeah, I think that's the word I'm looking for today, would be that they needed a bigger venue.
Yeah.
And something I always say when it would be Trump rallies and sometimes there were open seats, I'd say, you know what, maybe, aim small, and then if it's overcrowded, that's better than having an empty room. But in this case, they should have known. I mean, come on.
Honestly, Liz, I think they can hold this in an airport hangar at one of these regional airports and fill it up. You and I both know the overwhelming support that we're going to see once Trump does launch his campaign rallies, which he said starting in May that he would. So hopefully, God willing, we'll see one this month. But let's just be honest with ourselves. You and I probably don't know what's coming. There's probably a gigantic red wave that's coming.
Oh, I promise we don't know what's coming.
We don't.
We're so far out of the loop.
Yeah. But,
not in a bad way, but President Trump keeps everything so hush-hush until he comes out with it.
And when he releases where he's going to be, I don't think we've seen the crowds that we're going to see coming up.
Bigger than Valdosta, Georgia?
I really think so, because I think after what we've been through the last 3, 4, 5 months, people want to do this. This is camaraderie. You and I are we're amongst our people. We're amongst people that agree with what we agree with, that believe in what we believe, and it feels good. It feels good.
This is a straight opinion piece here, but I don't think anyone had any idea how awful Biden could be. Like, we knew he'd be really bad, but he's just useless. The most useless president I have ever seen. He's not allowed to talk, not allowed to answer questions. He puts America last. All the other nations know that. They can walk all over us. So it's pretty great. You can see what we're laughing at here. The people in front of us, they have Right Side Broadcasting pulled up on their cell phone watching it even though they're here. So we zoomed in on that, and he was able to see himself on his little phone. Just some great energy here. Everyone is smiling from ear to ear. And like Glenn mentioned earlier today, a lot of these people are some familiar faces from other events that we've seen around the state of Florida.
Yeah, I'm going to see if we can I'll get out in the crowd and bring some people over here to talk to us. But yeah, I've seen a lot of familiar faces. And I haven't spent a whole lot of time in Florida like you have. But I do recognize a lot of these people, and very much like I did in D.C., I recognize a lot of people that were at the rallies, without the Senate hearings that we went to around the country. So, hey, people they're followers of Trump, and they support what he's about. And obviously, Gaetz and Greene both are supporters of Trump, and I think that's why these people are here, and that's why you're here watching us right now. And thank you so much for joining us as we're live in the Villages here in beautiful Central Florida, about an hour north of Orlando. One of the largest retirement communities in the country, if not, I know, for the state of Florida. And so what you're seeing in here is a gathering of people. I'd probably say the average age, and please don't hate me if I'm off by this, I'm going to say 60. That was my golden number there, 60. And they just played a very faith-based song, and a lot of people were engaged in the following of that song, and it's just such a good vibe here.
This was 3 hours ago on Breaking 911, but California records first annual population decrease in history, down 0.46% from last year. Now, I can think of one big reason that rhymes with gruesome as to why that happened this year. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I think you're right. We've seen states like Florida, states like Texas absorb some of those people moving out, and for good reason. High taxes, high crime, the homeless rate, the homeless situation's out of control there in that state. So that's what you're seeing. But you know what? We got Caitlyn Jenner. I know she made news last week for officially announcing her candidacy for governor in the great state of California. I personally, I'm going to get off the gender thing and put any kind of opinion on that.
We can talk about that too. Someone said, I can't believe the bars in San Francisco are open, but my son cannot go to his high school there.
Excellent point. Excellent point. But I'm just amazed at everything I heard from Caitlin a couple of days ago. Really, it's everything Trump's been saying. Like, politically, I think she's in line. And it's going to be interesting how the left, who embraced Bruce, now Caitlin, with open arms, how will they embrace her now as she comes out as a Republican? It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think President Trump, I mean, him and Caitlin have a long-standing relationship. I think he'll come out and endorse her. So it's something that I think it's coming in the inevitable future. There's a classic photo of her driving down the road with her Make America Great Again hat on. And I want to encourage conservatives to continue to be the party of inclusivity and love. And we'll see where that goes. If the policies line up for President Trump's America First agenda, then so be it. I wish her the best. I'm on Twitter reading y'all's comments and in the YouTube Super Chat reading questions. And some of the comments that I think are interesting that stand out, I'm reading to you guys. Emerald Robinson from Newsmax said, why would a press secretary announce their retirement 1 year ahead of time? What is happening next year? Is somebody else going to be in charge or something? It is a really interesting topic. Some people give their 2 weeks, but imagine going into something, imagine right now if I said I'm going to quit next year, how my company would feel about it. How does the White House feel that one of their employees just doesn't care enough to stay for another year? I'm still on the Psaki thing. I don't know how an employee announces their retirement a year ahead of time. Most people give their 2 weeks, but imagine doing that to Right Side Broadcasting or any other employee. Is there something going on? Is there going to be someone else in charge in a year? I mean, what is this foreshadowing?
As I had some water, thank you for a nice gentleman right here that gave me a bottle of water, which, by the way, they're just at the door right there, Liz. You need some water. Which leads me to a lot of things we could talk about right now. When you talk about Melinda and Bill Gates getting divorced, there's so much you can read into that. I mean, I don't want to go down the conspiracy theorist rabbit hole, but it is interesting to think about some of the things that could be happening 6 months from now, a year from now. What do we know? I don't know. But it is interesting how the wheels turn behind the scenes, and why would somebody give that advance notice that she knows she's out? You know, I know back during the Trump administration, we typically didn't know about a shift change until like it would be like, oh, next week. It would be very, very short.
Yeah. No, it definitely was. It was almost 24 hours notice some of the times. 1 second, I have a tweet I'm going to pull up really quick.
Okay, go ahead, pull it up. That's okay. Hey, so we're having a great time. I hope you're joining us in course tech. Hey, I want to say real quickly.
Yeah.
We got you on camera, spying on our broadcast there. I love it though. Well, we can't get over because we got photographers in our way right now, so we're going to stay right there. What's your name? Where are you from?
John from Villages. Oh, see Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like about him? I mean, what is he?
I don't know a whole lot about him, but I've seen him on Fox, and I like the way things he stands for. I like that fact that he supports Trump, and he's working with that. So yeah.
Well, at the state capitol, and he was up there basically advocating for Liz Cheney to step aside,
right.
Which I think that's eventually going to happen.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he is pretty. He's bold. He says and does things. He's very Trump-like in a way, the way he communicates.
Very much so.
But I like the way he handles himself. Now, hey, how can you not like a guy who puts America first?
He's got energy.
He's got energy.
It's the one thing that Pence didn't have.
He's got great hair too.
Yeah, well.
Something you and I both wish we had more of, I'm sure.
I got plenty of it.
Yeah, we love it. But don't you love the energy in this room right now?
Oh, it's fabulous. I wish they had a bigger room. That's all.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Now, if Trump was to come out tomorrow and say that he's having a rally down in South Florida, around the Florida-Georgia line, depending on, you would go with a heartbeat, right?
Oh, yeah. We've already worked 2 of them, so,
yeah.
Yep.
This feels like a Trump rally.
Oh, it does, yeah, no question. No question.
Well, what's your thoughts on the first 100 days or so of the Biden administration?
It's an abomination. I mean, just look at the results. Look at the unemployment. Look at the fact that people won't even go work for people that want them to work, that are open and for business, and they can't get people to come work. So it's just unreal. And now, DeSantis is actually paying cops for what they're doing, getting a $1,000 check for them.
Yeah, he's actually funding the police.
Absolutely. Unbelievable.
Isn't this great? Let's take a look at that right now. I hope we have a way to get that. We have a lot of people from it. Yeah. Well, we have a lot of people in the room right now, and we are so glad that they are enjoying themselves and a great attitude, because you know what? It's been a rough.
The overflow outside.
Yeah.
So there's a video. Raheem Kassalam put it online. We want you guys to go check it out. We just retweeted it by our account here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. So make sure you go look at it. It shows a massive crowd of hundreds of people outside to get in this event. A shame, because there's quite literally nowhere else for these people to go. But the crowd that this event drew is unbelievable. I'm mind blown.
I really wish that the Biden administration right now could see this. And where are all of those supporters? Where are all the Biden people? You won. So where are you? Where are you celebrating? I just think the energy, it's low energy. We heard President Trump say that. Low energy, low energy, low energy. Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe. Well, that's about him. And this is what you get when you come to a Trump rally. If you never, it's funny how many people have not been to Trump rallies, and you and I take it for granted that we've been to a lot of them. But this gives people at home right now, if you've never been to a Trump rally, this is kind of what it feels like. It's a lot of energy. The music's great. Everyone's smiling. Everyone's got a flag. They're very patriotic. And it's just great. And I'm so glad that you're watching this today. Let's see if we can get a shot of some people coming in through the side there. I know they're starting to sit people behind Gaetz's banner. I guess it's got Team Gaetz, Team Greene. You got the two candidates there, right? But they're starting to funnel in, which makes me think that we could be moments away. It is 6:21 here in Florida. We could be moments away from this thing all kicking off right now. So now is a good time, a very good time to share this broadcast and let people know that, hey, there's something very positive going on in Florida right now. You check out Right Side Broadcasting. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, go check us out on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go subscribe to us on YouTube. Go check us out on Instagram and all that good stuff. So go check us out on all of our social media front. Liz, they can follow you as well. You and I both document a lot of stuff that we do. How can they follow you?
Please do. You can follow me on Twitter at Liz-Willis, Liz-WILLIS. I'm also on Instagram at Liz Willis. There's no dash on that one. It's just my name, so check us out. Please make sure you're following us on all of Right Side Broadcasting social media outlets. We are on Telegram. This is a huge one. Telegram has really been great. We don't have to worry about censorship or anything else. So we want to encourage you guys to follow us, Right Side Broadcasting Network, on Telegram. And the reason I really encourage you guys to do this is because I don't know if you saw it, but Facebook's board of Trump's ban actually met this week, and they just voted to ban him for another 6 months. And then when it comes to other outlets, they have just voted to continue to, I think it was Twitter, I believe it's Twitter, who has decided to block any account associated with Donald Trump, the desk of Donald Trump.
Really?
So the new accounts like DJT Desk and anyone that is using those accounts to push out these press releases that he's sending, they are also blocking those accounts. I know, it sounds fake.
If you and I share it, we can get blocked.
We can get blocked. I am quite scared of RSBN's account, but at the end of the day, if we don't share what he is saying, are we really doing our job? I mean, ethically, we would not be in good standing ethically. These big tech certainly is not. So it's awful. They're absolutely censoring. It's getting worse and worse. I can't believe that living in the United States of America, that this is even something we have to deal with. But Telegram is one platform that I have yet to see this type of censorship come from. So I really encourage everyone to make sure you're following us on there. If worst case scenario, we wake up one day, it's happened before. I don't want to jinx it or talk it into happening, but if we don't have our platforms, if we don't have our Twitter or our Instagram, but in the meantime, blow those up too. Follow us on Twitter. It's at RSB Network, and it's at RSB Network on Instagram as well. Instagram, especially Twitter, we post flyers for all of the events we find. We want to make sure that we're using our platform kind of as a voice for these grassroots organizations and the events that they're hosting.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Liz, because I've noticed we've been on Instagram for 98,400 followers. We have not, I know, but we have, for a long time, we have not gotten more than that. And I don't know if we're being shadow banned there. I don't know if we're just not getting the posts or the likes.
We've applied for our verification badge on Instagram at least 3 times, 5 times maybe, and they deny us every time. What's the point of that? We are legitimate. We are the owners of Right Side Broadcasting Network. It has almost 100,000 followers. I've seen people with 5,000 followers be verified, so there's absolutely no reason not to. I mean, we have imposters, people with fake names that try and copy us, so there's definitely some discrimination with Instagram as well.
I think so, and on my personal Twitter, which by the way is @BrianGlenn TV, I have seen my Twitter numbers stay stale for probably 6 months now. And I think that's big tech pretty much, slowing you down. But anyway, go follow us across all of our social media platforms. And as Liz says, that's one of the best way to stay in touch with us. Plus, we've got some amazing programming coming out here shortly. Coming up on Monday, another Made in America episode. We're over at America's Crate out of Kentucky, which is a great subscription box company. So you go through there. We got Father's Day coming up. Stay tuned for that on Monday. We'll have that. And of course, I'll be in Arizona on May 15th for the Freedom 515 event going on there in Phoenix. And of course, that's going on across the country. You can go to freedom515.com and get more information on an event near you. So a lot of stuff going on right now at the network, but we need your help because all of this takes funding. And look, folks, we're not one of these gigantic mainstream media. We don't have a team, dozens of cam ops, dozens of correspondents, and dozens of people behind the scene. It is a very, very lean and effective bunch, but we need your support. So if you could please go to our website, rsbnetwork.com/donate, rsbnetwork.com/donate. And let me tell you something. I was talking to some politicians the other day, and they were talking about campaign financing and how every dollar counts. If everyone right now was to go to our website and donate $5, $10, that's it, $5 or $10, that accumulative amount goes so far to what we do here and allows us to keep covering these stories, like going down to the border, covering all of these congressional men and women in Congress that are putting on these events like this. So we need your help. And if it sounds like I'm on my knees asking you to please help us out financially, okay, I'll do it. I'll get on my knees and help you and beg you because we need your support. We want your donations, and we need them. They're very much accept it and appreciate it, but for sure. So go check us out at rsbnetwork.com/donate. And of course, you can always buy one of those great pillows over at mypillow.com, and of course a portion of those proceeds go back to this network. All right, I'm done financing right now. I'm done campaigning for donations, but it's very important. And as we said, we are not the CNNs of the world. We are not the mainstream media where we have all this corporate backing. It doesn't exist. We are the People's Network, to be honest with you. We're your network, and we fight for you, and we go and do all these events to bring you the information. So we appreciate all of your support. And what an enthusiastic crowd we have right now. And I'm excited. And this event popped up on our radar. You said, hey, let's go to Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are just 3 minutes away from remarks by Congressman Gaetz and Congresswoman Greene. So again, we're 3 minutes away from this event starting. Please make sure that you're helping us out. Share this. You guys have a voice, whether you can donate financially or not. You can still help us out for free. So please consider helping us out. You can share this link. Copy and paste it to your social media platforms, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those bad guys we just talked about. It's a necessary evil to help us stay alive. So help us out. Share the link with your family and friends. Text it. Say, hey, are you watching on RSBN? We've got a really big 1.5 years or so coming up. I mean, we're not going to give up. These events are happening, and we're not just going to roll over backwards, call it a day. We could retire comfortably, but we're not going to do that because at this point we've got a mission, and we choose to accept it. We're going to keep fighting.
Liz, May 31st, you and I are at probably one of the biggest boat parades we've ever seen.
It's going to be absolutely massive, you guys. If you're not familiar, Team Deplorable is putting on a Jupiter boat parade. This is Memorial Day weekend, Jupiter, West Palm Beach area. I've already seen that it's almost impossible to even rent boats down in South Florida.
Well, you and I are going to be on the 2 lead boats.
Yeah,
and they're big boats now.
I have a feeling, and this is just guessing, but I have a feeling that some big names are going to be on those boats. It's not irrational to say that possibly Don Jr. will be on a lead boat. Kimberly Guilfoyle, we know they've been on some of these boat parades before. So one of my friends, Hogan Gidley, he's the former press secretary to the Trump campaign. He will be there. I know he's going to be on one of the lead boats, so we'll secure an interview with him. It's going to be a monumentous event. If we thought Tampa was big, I already know the whole day is going to blow my mind. So Memorial Day weekend, if you've got nothing to do and you've got a boat, I recommend bringing it on down to South Florida and having a great day with probably thousands, if not thousands for sure, maybe 10,000. I don't know, 10,000 Patriots or so. I think it's going to blow my mind. The group's already been canceled on Facebook once.
Yep, multiple times. They keep taking down the event page. So the organizers reached out to me and said, hey, can you help us? So if you go to our Instagram page, I think you posted some stuff up. I posted some stuff up, all the information. The event is on. Don't listen to anybody on Twitter telling you this boat parade's not going to happen. It is on. And if you saw our coverage in Tampa, it was amazing in Tampa. I mean, people showed up on that short notice.
It was absolutely incredible. Want to remind you guys, don't forget to check out www.mypillow.com. You can use code RSBN for up to 66% off your entire order. Again, that's code RSBN for up to 66% off your entire order. We have a state representative nearby, and so we were going to see if we could possibly grab him to do a quick interview. We actually saw him a few weeks ago in West Palm Beach, Florida. This is Anthony Sabatini. He might be busy right now. We'll see. We're just going to see if we can grab him. He actually launched a congressional campaign recently. Hi, good. My name's Liz. I met you with Grace a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we met, yeah.
I was going to see if we could do a quick interview. I hate to pull you away from your wife.
No, we're just hanging.
Okay, cool. So I'll let you introduce yourself. I know it's crowded, so we're going to be this camera right here.
Cool.
And you've just announced a congressional campaign back in March, I believe. So just a little bit about that.
Well, it's going great. I'm running for the new congressional district. As you know, everybody's getting out of the horrible liberal states and they're moving to the Sun Belt. They're moving to the Republican states. So Florida gets a new congressional seat. I'm running for it. It'll be drawn here in just a few months. And I think we need more conservative fighters like Greene and Gaetz and less people like Mitt Romney. So I'm running for Congress for that seat.
I was just reading a statistic that came out, I think, like 3 hours ago. For the first time in California's history, their population decreased by 0.46%. Don't quote me on that, but something along those lines. So Florida is seeing it. On average, how many people are moving to Florida? Do you know, daily or anything like that?
Well, yeah, a lot of people say it's 1,000 a week or something like that. It's about 1.5% of the whole population goes up every year. Maybe 2% a year it increases now because it's getting faster every single day. And that's a good thing, but it's also a little scary because that 0.5%, I'm hoping a lot of those people are Republicans trying to get out. But if it's liberal people leaving California because they can't suffer any longer under the policies that they voted in, that's a problem for us and everybody else because they're going to places like Texas or wherever, Arizona, and making those places more liberal. And I'm just hoping they understand that their policies destroyed that state and we don't need to export them to other states to experiment more.
Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind that would even be an issue, leaving a place based on their policies and voting for those same policies in that state. But I'm sure it does happen, and it has before. We saw you last. It was West Palm Beach. It was
Michael Flynn.
Yes, Michael Flynn's speech, and you actually were one of the pre-speakers at that event. So looking back on that now, how do you think that went, and what did you take from the experience?
It was an honor, and it was amazing. I mean, I agree with a lot of what General Flynn has to say, and I think he agrees with what I have to say, so it was an honor to be able to share the stage with him. Our speeches were almost exactly the same. We talked about election integrity. We're talking about stopping the erosion of the American identity, sovereignty, borders, and he's an inspiration. And I think if a lot more Americans were listening to what General Flynn was saying, we'd be in a little bit better off position in this country. But it went really well. 800 people or so. kind of like this, standing room only, and we pack the house.
Absolutely. When I come to these events now, I have to make sure not to wear a blazer because I know I'll be sweating.
Yeah.
It's gross, but it's true. So do you have anything coming up with your campaign? Any fun events coming up? Do you see rallies in your future?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be engaging in some rallies later on in the year. Right now I'm still doing a lot of smaller events. Small as in like 200 or 300 people, maybe not 1,000 or 2,000.
Bigger than Biden's events?
I think I'll be at a pretty big rally actually down your way in Jupiter. I'm speaking with Roger Stone the day before Memorial Day. So it's a Memorial Day freedom event I'd love to share with you and your viewers and listeners. A lot of great conservatives will be speaking at about how to take our country back and how to fix the Republican Party.
That would be incredible. We were just talking about the Memorial Day boat parade that's happening that weekend as well. Are you going to that?
Maybe. I'm actually speaking at 2 events, one in Broward and one in Jupiter, so the a boat parade's probably not too far from that. Maybe I'll make it 3 events.
You give me the details on your event and I'll share the boat parade with you. Should be fun. Now, how can our audience tune in to what you're doing? How can they follow you on your socials or follow your campaign?
Sure, we'll definitely encourage them to follow me on social media, Anthony Sabatini, S-A-B-A-T-I, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything, and hopefully some better social media sites once we get those up and running too, pretty soon. But follow me, check me out at SabatiniForCongress.com. And, we need more conservatives elected to D.C., so I love that, yeah.
Thank you so much. You always make time for us, so we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
You too. Have fun. Super nice. Let me toss this to Brian really quick.
Yeah. Text me out. I'll send it to you. I got a PDF.
All right.
Oh, yeah, Liz, yeah.
You know, there's nothing like live television right now. There's just nothing like live television. I think they came out and kind of gave us a little quick 2-minute warning on this. Now they're passing out signs, and so I'm just going to be very transparent. There might be some times where our point of view is somewhat limited because of the signs. So hopefully the signs aren't held up the entire time. I'm talking from a television standpoint. This could get very distracting, but we're glad the signs are here. But they don't always work sometimes when you're trying to shoot an event like this. But if you're just not joining us, welcome. We probably have, I'm going to guess, 250 people in this room, if not a little bit more. Could they have used a bigger room? Could they have set up in a bigger place? Absolutely. I don't know how many people are outside waiting to get in, but one can imagine they're outside, because when we pulled up, there wasn't a parking space available anywhere around here. The line of people was around the hotel here, and so obviously not all those can come in here, but as you can see, it is standing room only around this building, and we are anxiously awaiting for, I think, a very positive message between Gaetz and Greene, and it's all about what the sign says, America First, and this is probably one of their rallies that they'll be putting on, probably not just only here in Florida, but across the country. We've seen that. Of course, Matt Gaetz was in Wyoming a while back, kind of campaigning against Liz Cheney, she's been in the news lately. I would imagine maybe something on the news front will happen there as well. But both of these candidates are always out, and you talk about two people that are on social media as much as anybody. It's Gaetz and Greene. They've been out on positive and negative. I mean, we've seen the stories about both these two individuals. Now, those are just stories and allegations, and nothing's factual. No, there's nothing concrete about a lot of these allegations, but nevertheless, hey, look, when you got a target on you, when you have a target on you and over you, you know you're doing something right. You know you're doing something right, and these two individuals are doing just that. And that's with everybody. I mean, if you don't get kicked back from the left and the mainstream media, then I don't think you're out there swinging hard enough. You're not making enough noise for yourself. So we're glad you're joining us. We should be relatively close to starting. Let me check the start time here. It is 6:38 here in Florida. Let's see if we get, thought maybe that was an intro music here just a second. But anyway, lots going on in the news. And of course, we continue to develop our programming, we'll be able to have kind of a recap segment coming up on our network shortly. I know we've got some programming that was scheduled now and that's been going on our network, so stay tuned to all of our social media, because I know we've had to shuffle around some different things to make this broadcast fit, but we're glad that you're hanging in there with us and watching all of this as they are in, I guess this goes on for about an hour and a half from what I understand, so hopefully we can bring all of that to you, and hopefully we get some interviews with one of these two individuals after the this event as well. But packed house, energy is high. Of course, they've been dancing and waving signs for ever since we walked in the door, really. At around 5:45 is when the energy really started to ramp up. And for good reason, because we've had about 100 days of the Biden administration, and we were talking earlier how we just can't think of anything that's very positive that's come out. It's a lot of rollback from what Trump was doing. It's about a lot of policies that got, reversed. A lot of things that, President Biden said he wouldn't do. He said he wouldn't mess with the Keystone Pipeline. Well, guess what? Day one, day two, that's exactly what he did. Immigration, rolled that back, stopped construction of the border wall, and then eventually, this past week, canceled the contracts with the companies on the wall. And we were down at the wall just last 2 weeks ago. We were on the wall. And matter of fact, if you go back on YouTube after this broadcast, you'll see we aired part 2 last night of our trip down to the border there in McAllen. But it was depressing to see portions of the wall that are still under construction that looks like the workers were there last night, and well, when the sun came up, they just walked away and went home. A very disturbing situation there in South Texas. And what's going to happen with all that stuff? What's going to happen with the wall that is partially put together? And of course, we've heard the stories of how the illegal immigrants and a lot of drug lords are sending drugs and things across our border. It's just it's a crisis, and the fact that Kamala Harris has not been down there, or Biden has not been down there, is a shame. You would think that they would visit these places that have been on the news. You would think they would go and see and talk to the Border Patrol agents. I have, and I can tell you one thing: they're stressed out, they're overworked, they are in desperate need of some help, and the Biden administration is simply not giving any indication that they're going to do anything that's substance to stop it. Kamala Harris said that she's going to go down and talk to the presidents of Guatemala and El Salvador and talk about the root of the problem of why they're migrating here to the U.S. And I even heard some crazy notion that it was because of global warming and it affected their crops. The farmers weren't able to do their crops, and therefore left them in dire need for money. That's why they came to the U.S. So, whatever reason they try to throw at this, we have an immigration crisis. So, let's start with just finishing that wall first. Let's start with doing something that works. And we talked to dozens and dozens of border agents, and they'll tell you that during the Trump administration, they saw far less crossings going on. The amount of drugs flowing into this country was majorly decreased. So we had a handle on it. Now, is it perfect? No, it never is, and it probably never will be. But my goodness, right now it's out of control. And of course, they're showing some of the detention centers there in Donna, some of these tents that have few less kids in them. And we've been told let's see, the music stopped. Let's see if we're getting ready to do it.
It's been amazing seeing you all guys rally up today, but why now we need to make a prayer. And we need to bring the kingdom of God in this place. So Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your love. We say, let your kingdom come and let your will be done in this place as it is in heaven. Father, we are one nation under God. And we stand, Father, in your word. And we pray for America First rally that is being released today. It's been launched in this day, Father. And we ask you that you will bring angels, Lord, will cover everything that we do from now on. We bless the congresswoman and congressman, Matt Gaetz, Father. We bless, Father, Marjorie. We bless, Father, this nation. And we decree and we declare that no weapon formed against this country shall prosper. We speak justice. We speak truth. We say, Father, that we believe in the Almighty God, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And we thank you, Father, for our President Donald J. Trump, Father. We ask you that you will bless him. And we, Father, declare the victory that we have with you. In the name of Jesus Christ, the Messiah. Amen.
As good Republicans, we're going to honor our flag and our country. So let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We're live at the Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene America First rally in the Villages, about an hour out of Orlando, Florida. We're Right Side Broadcasting Network, and we're bringing this to you completely live. Thank you for those who have donated and who are asking how you can support us. One of the main ways you can help us out is by sending your love to Mike Lindell over at MyPillow. Go to their website, www.mypillow.com, and use code RSBN. This will get you up to 66% off your entire order. These are huge savings, and not only does it save you money, but he is so generous. Mike Lindell actually gives a portion of those proceeds back to us here at RSBN, and we are almost entirely viewer funded. So this really means the world to us. It allows us to continue to get by and to get to these events and cover them live all over the United States. There's number of items you can choose from. It's not just pillows. We actually sent out a cute, I want to say gorgeous, I made it, so I'm biased, but a gift guide for Mother's Day. It's not too late. It may not be there in time, but you can always print off a photo and show where you got. There's pink bathrobes, throw blankets, ultra soft women's slippers, and of course masculine versions of all of this, but my favorite items come in pink. So you can check out all those items at mypillow.com. You can also go to mystore.com, which they're really working on revamping and turning into the conservative Amazon, and our code works there as well. So make sure you've got your American flags for summertime, your flag poles, patriotic signs, whatever it may be. They've got other items there, but those are some of my absolute favorites. And hopefully you guys will love them as much as we do. Again, if you do buy them and you get your stuff, we want to see it. Tag us on Instagram or Twitter when your items come in for a chance to be featured on our platforms, which you can follow as well. We're on Twitter and Instagram. Both of those socials are at RSB Network. Be sure to follow us on Telegram as well. That's one platform we don't have to go to sleep at night worrying about losing. So with censorship so big right now and big tech tyranny just taking over, we do rely on our Telegram. Make sure you're subscribed to us on Telegram. It's an incredible app. It's Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's got a verified check there as well, so you'll make sure you're following the right one. Now, it's a little after 6:45 here at this rally. The rally is scheduled to begin at 6:30. Those are the scheduled time for the remarks by Matt Gaetz. So really, absolutely any minute now, one of them can take the stage.
Yeah, this is like typical fashion. A lot of things, as we covered dozens of Trump rallies, it seems like nothing ever started at the scheduled time. But hey, you know what? When you have this many people together or having our own little party, it doesn't really matter at that point. There's a lady in there wearing a 9-line apparel t-shirt, and I just wanted to bring it up. We also are one of our great partners. You can go over to 9lineapparel.com and check out some of the patriotic gear they have there, and of course put an RSBN at checkout, and we're going to discount that stuff as well. So nice to see all this patriotic apparel in the crowd today, and of course a lot of Make America Great Again hats, a lot of Trump 45 hats in the building, a lot of America First, a lot of Right Side fans in here as well. It's nice to have people come up to us and say, hey, we watch you all the time. Thanks for doing what you do, and of course we do it because it's the right thing to do, and it's what it's this age in news. And I've been doing this for, well, my first job was in 1989. That dates me back in a little bit, but this is the most important thing and the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done in my entire career, was to be covering all of this and really fighting for what's right and the truth, and putting America first is the most purposeful thing I've ever done. And so if you guys feel like you want to contribute, this is how you can do it. Be a social media warrior and share content. And a lot of people say, I want to help, but I don't know what to do. For whatever reason, they don't have the time to go volunteer anywhere. But if you have a social media account and you want to share some broadcast, and if you see a video that we put up that you like, or a story, an article that one of our amazing team members have written on social media, get that and share it. That is one way to spread the truth. That is one way to fight back, and we appreciate that. And you have no idea how much a like, a comment, and a share goes a long way in this age. So we appreciate you do that. That would be wonderful. And that's one way you can do it. I mean, not everybody can go run for political office. Not everybody can go run for school board or city council or mayor or any one of these local, political positions, but you can share a post. You can get out there and like something. So that's one thing that you can do. It kind of feels like we're getting close. It just does. A lot of as you can probably see, a lot of the attention to this blue curtain off to your camera left. It looks like we have an announcement coming up. Perhaps let's see if we can. Let's listen in. Maybe not. Kind of seemed like for a second they were about to make an announcement, some type of entry. It does feel like we're moments away from it starting. It seems like a lot of security is in place. And by the way, there is quite a bit of security in this building and around the venue outside. There's people out. This is amazing. There's people outside. There's a door open to go out of the ballroom, and I can see through the other glass doors. And there's people outside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
God bless you guys. All right, I just got to check something. I just want to make sure I'm in the right place. Tell me, who is your president? That's my president too. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was with friends and family, not with Antifa or BLM or Democrat Socialist. Did anybody in here vote for Joe Biden? Do you guys really think he won? I didn't see this kind of support for a man that stayed in a basement for an entire year campaigning, did you? No. Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Listen, oh, I love you too. Let me tell you all what we're doing, and it's really important. Matt Gaetz and I got together, and I said, we got to do something. We live in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. We're a nation of people that aren't going to lay down to socialism, are we? No. That's right, screw socialism. That's how I feel about it. So here's what we're doing. We are getting all of you together. This is very, very important because it's time to bring hope back to the people of this country that love America, that love our freedoms, that love our Second Amendment rights, that love the past 4 years where we had a president that showed us what America First policies looked like, that put our American businesses first, the American people first, that wasn't wrapped up. President Trump was not wrapped up in identity politics, was he? No, there was one thing he used to say, and I used to love it, and he still says it, is in America, we all bleed red, white, and blue. God bless America for that. So we're starting these America First rallies, and we're going to take them across the country. Because I'll tell you something, I'm a first-time congresswoman. I've never held office before. I'm a regular person, just like every single one of you. And there's one thing I believe with all my heart is the people of this country are what matters. And it's the people of this country that make this country work. It's the small business owners, the people that go to work every single day and work long hours and make ends meet. It's our truck drivers. It's the people that work in our small businesses, our restaurants, construction companies, all kinds of small companies across this country that love it so much, that don't ask for a handout. You work hard every single day, you pay your taxes, you do everything right, but now you're being controlled in a government that is trying to take away all your freedoms. We're not going to let that happen. And I know for a fact when we pull everyone together, because it's the people in America that can make it change, right? I believe in people over politicians. Well, like many of you, I've been a business owner for the past 2 decades, and I never really was interested in politics a whole lot. I sure as heck never wanted to be a member of Congress. This is a really dirty, rotten job, I can tell you that much. But there was a certain person that ran for president in 2016, and I liked what he had to say. I understood what he had to say, and it made sense to me to have someone like that running our country. He was a businessman. And then I'll tell you what happened. We elected him. We got the Republican-controlled House, the Republican-controlled Senate, and Donald J. Trump in the White House. And I thought, wow, things are about to happen. We're going to build the wall. We're going to defund Planned Parenthood. We're going to defund sanctuary cities. Yeah. We're going to repeal Obamacare. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic. But guess what? That didn't happen. Didn't happen in the first 2 years under President Trump with Republicans running the show. What, did y'all say rhinos? Yeah. Okay, well, let me explain to you all what they don't understand in Washington, D.C., and what the political consultants and those that run everything in Washington and the staff that never ever leaves, they just move around, they don't understand what you all just said. Rhinos, Republican in name only. They don't understand that how regular people, which is all the voters, by the way, 75 million people, are tired of Republicans saying these things but not delivering, right? Wait, say it again. Good, we want everybody to know that. So, here's the deal. That's when I started paying attention, when Nancy Pelosi took the gavel. And so I said, you know what? We make it work every single day in the real world. We're able to pay our bills. We're not in debt. We're able to achieve things, and I think it's time for real people to go to Washington. And so that's why I'm a member of Congress. And they don't like me very much. Thank you. And I love you because you are the people I understand. You see, I got to Washington, and I wasn't there very long. It was literally the second day when we had to vote on the rules in Congress. And let me tell you what they decided to do. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats decided that they were going to erase gender in the rules for the 117th Congress. Yeah, imagine that. You can't say he, she, him, her, mother, father, daughter, son, brother, sister. I'm sitting there going, wait, have these people lost their minds? Oh, let me tell you, I found out a lot more how crazy they are. And they call me crazy, which is really funny. So we voted on that, and well, I voted against it, and so did a lot of other people, but the Democrats said, yeah, we don't believe in gender. We aren't going to say these pronouns and so forth. And then the days went on. Well, let me tell you, the bills that they introduce are atrocious. And I want to inform you all about something that I was shocked by. You wouldn't believe how many bills, as a matter of fact, most of them get passed by people saying their vote. We have 435 members of Congress. But yet, here's what they do. With a handful of members, maybe 10 or less Democrats and 10 or less Republicans, they call the bill to the floor and we vote on it. And the Democrats, because they're voting on all of their bills, go, yay. And then all of us Republicans are like, nay. But sadly, some Republicans say yay, which I still haven't figured out. And then it passes. Well, I want to tell you, the first time I saw a bill pass like that, I think it was audible when my chin hit the floor. You see, I believe that all members of Congress should actually vote. What do you guys think? Isn't that a novel idea? Well, you see, the Democrats in charge were so sweet to me, and then there were I think, 11 Republicans, something like that, 10 or 11. I have that list, I'm hanging on to it, that were so nice to give me some free time. And they decided to kick me off committees over a few things that they didn't like on Facebook some years back. And so it was pretty interesting. They said they didn't want me on committees, and I was like, oh, thank God, because the Democrats are running the committees, and they don't listen to Republicans anyways. And I'm the kind of person, I'm a business owner. I've accomplished a lot. I've been a competitive athlete, and I like to compete, and I hate to lose. If you want to give me some time on my hands, then you better believe I'm going to figure out smart ways to use it. So, I got with some people, some smart people, and I learned a little bit about floor procedure and floor action and how all this stuff works there in the chamber. And then I found out that I can make things happen. And I don't even have to be on committees. And I found out I can force every member of Congress to vote on bills that are brought to the floor. Because you want to know, right? And I don't think this is a Republican issue or a Democrat issue. This is an American people issue. Everyone deserves to know how their member of Congress votes. So I started calling, Madam Speaker, I'd like the yays and nays. Well, let me tell you, you'd have thought that a bomb went off in there, and that would be a really bad thing. Because everyone was very upset with me about that. Oh, the audacity of that Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for recorded votes. How dare she put us on record? Yeah. Let me tell you all the things that were very offensive. Number one, guess what they had to do? When you call for a recorded vote, that means everybody's got to stop what they're doing and they have to walk down to the chamber with the voting card, put it in there, and you vote. Well, does that sound so difficult to do? No. Oh, you'd have thought that it was the hardest thing ever. We were making these people work. Oh, the complaining. Well, the Democrats were very upset because it was messing up the schedule because they're trying to ram through all the socialist bills they possibly can. You know, like the Equality Act that puts biological men in our bathrooms and in our girls' sports. How do you guys feel about that? All right, I'll come back to that. I have a good story for y'all. Okay, and they had a bunch of other bills, you know, like allowing felons to vote from prison. Do you think that's a good idea? Murder people and then you get to vote? I don't think so. Cori Bush likes that one, by the way. That was her bill. So here's what we did. So I started calling for these recorded votes, and Democrats were, you know, really upset because it was messing up the schedule and it was taking a lot of time, and everybody had to stop what they're doing. They had to stop their lunches and stop their fundraising calls and get up from their nap and all kinds of things and come down and vote. Well, it wasn't just the Democrats that were upset with me. It was the Republicans also. Yeah. Well, guess what? As a matter of fact, I got chewed out quite a few times, and it wasn't by Democrats because they don't talk to me. It was by Republicans. Yeah. Do you want to know what they said? Oh, yeah. Marjorie, you don't want to do this, Marjorie. I said, why? Why not? Well, you're going to put people on record. You just need to let these things pass quietly, and you can vote your conscience, Marjorie. You can say yay or nay. I was like, that's not what I'm here for. I know how to do a job, and I like to work hard. But just like you, just like all of you, just like the American people, well, except the ones that love getting paid their bailout checks and staying home and won't go to work. That's another issue. So I got chewed out for making people vote. And it was Republicans that didn't like it. Well, we can just go with the RINOs. Y'all want names, don't you? See, this is what they don't understand. And it's on both sides of the aisle. They've been there so long that they only know how to function together. And they forget who they work for. They work for you. Well, let me tell you, once we started putting them on record and calling for recorded votes, and I started getting help from my friends in the House Freedom Caucus, by the way, and I started getting help from people like Matt Gaetz, and we started calling for recorded votes. Well, that changed things, and here's how it changed. For instance, there was one week, there were 28 bills that were set to go out there, and I said, put it on Twitter, because evidently Twitter is where you tell everybody everything, unless you get kicked off, right? I said, I'll be calling for the yays and nays. And then all of a sudden, magically, boy, that list got dropped down. There was only 5 bills that came through that week. And I'll tell you one more thing that really, really sets them off. It's when I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Oh.
Well, that really upset people. A motion to adjourn is very important. It's when you're saying Congress needs to go home. Congress needs to stop. I want to call for a motion to adjourn every single day because Congress is so out of control. Congress needs to stop and go home. So let's talk about science. Do you guys believe in science? Trust the science, right? I'll tell you a quick story about my neighbor across the street. My neighbor across the hall. Apparently, I have a Democrat across the hall. I didn't know it because, again, they don't really talk to me much. Anyways, I found out because there was a video on Twitter, and it was the week of the Equality Act, and I had been pretty vocal about that, saying that's not a good idea. And there was a video on Twitter that was tagging me with my neighbor across the hall, Democrat Representative Marie Newman. And I'd never met her, and usually I'm from the South. When we meet our neighbors, we do it with like a plate of cookies or some brownies or something, maybe a bottle of wine. That's not how I met my neighbor. She put a video up where she started the video on my nameplate by my door that y'all don't get to see because they don't allow you in the buildings that you pay for in Washington, D.C., by the way. Anyways, the video started on my nameplate, and then it went to her where she planted the trans flag right by her door. And then she did her hands. I was like, okay, well, who's this lady? Oh my goodness, she's across the hall. So I said, okay, well, I'll do my video to her. And it's evidently been seen a lot. So we started a video on her nameplate, and then it panned over to me, and I put a sign on the wall. There's only two genders, male and female. Trust the science. So I lovingly call her now Maria New Person because she doesn't believe in gender, so why call her Newman? She's like, new person. And I've left my sign up. So when Nancy Pelosi decides that the taxpayers can come to Washington and go in the Capitol again and the office buildings again, I really hope you all come to visit me and take a picture by my sign. I would very much like that. Let's talk about some other things. Do you all think that Joe Biden should be impeached? Yeah, I think so too. As a matter of fact, I introduced articles to impeach Joe Biden. And I really don't care if Republicans are in the minority. I think we still need to work to impeach Joe Biden. And you do too. You see, Joe Biden has a certain weakness, and his name is Hunter Biden. And Hunter Biden has a certain affinity with doing business in Ukraine and China. Yeah, and I think that's a little problem for the President of the United States, and it's a bigger problem for the American people. Because the Democrats impeached President Trump over a perfect phone call, by the way. So, I don't think that's the way that it works. And I think accountability is important. After all, the American people, all of you and all of me, all my life, we've had to be accountable, right? Nobody just lets us off the hook because we're friends with all the right people. Isn't that so? No. And the American people deserve to see our leaders who are paid with our tax dollars held accountable for doing wrong to the American people. Well, that was about 2 weeks before I got kicked off my committees, so maybe that had something to do with it. Let's talk about a lovely lady named Maxine Waters. What? I can't believe y'all don't like her. She's been serving in Congress, I think, longer than I've been alive. Well, how do you guys feel about a member of Congress traveling to another state that she doesn't live in, where there have been riots night after night, going there late at night, staying out past curfew, demanding a certain verdict for a trial that was still going on? I think that's inappropriate, don't you? And then telling the rioters, the people that are rioting, breaking the law, by the way, getting arrested at night, saying, what was she saying? Be more confrontational. Stay in the streets. Take to the streets. Break the curfew. Be more confrontational. Well, here's the question that we need to ask. After a year that the American people had to deal with watching cities burn, cities on fire, businesses looted, innocent people attacked, streets blocked, people in cars and trucks attacked, police officers night after night being attacked, and so much more. Innocent people like retired police officer David Dorn being murdered. Let me ask you all, what is more confrontational than that? What did Maxine Waters mean? Maxine Waters should be expelled from Congress. So I introduced a resolution to expel Maxine Waters. I've also introduced a lot of legislation that they keep saying, Marjorie, we can't get that done. I've introduced very strong border legislation. Yeah. I've introduced very strong Second Amendment legislation to protect your gun rights. Many, many bills. I've co-sponsored many bills, and I want to tell you, here's what they don't understand, and here's what you understand, and I understand, is you don't get something done in a day. You lay the groundwork. And we may be in the minority, and that does not matter, but we should be introducing strong legislation. We should be introducing articles of impeachment on Joe Biden, resolutions to expel Maxine Waters. You want to know why? Because they need the message that this is what we're going to do when we get in the majority. And the Republicans in Congress need a lesson from the American people, the Republican voters, and the Republican donors. Money talks, everybody. That's right. You are the majority. Here's what Republicans in Congress need reminded of. The American people, the Republican voters and donors, don't want to be told stuff on Fox News. They don't want to be told things on the campaign trail. They don't want to be told anymore. Republicans, voters, and donors, and people that would join the Republican Party, but they don't because they see Republicans fail, is they want to see action. You want to see action. And we didn't see that action in the first 2 years in a Republican-controlled Congress under President Trump, did we? And that's why we ended up with Democrats controlling everything in the next 2 years. See, they don't think that's true, but that is true. Exactly. We know that's true. So we have an opportunity going into 2022, and let me tell you what America First rallies are all about. We need to send a message. Here is the message. You see, the Democrats, the people in charge right now that put a great big fence and put a whole bunch of military up there around the Capitol to let you all know that you can't go there. The Democrats that say they won the presidential race, the Democrats that are working very, very hard and very fast and aggressively to pass their socialist agenda for America, the Democrats that shame you all the time for supporting Trump, the Democrats that shame you for supporting America first, the Democrats that call you ugly names like deplorable and insurrectionist and all these ugly names that trash you. But guess where you hear that from the most? Where do you hear it from the most? The media. You hear it from the media. That's right. So you get told every single day, oh, if you want election integrity, you're a terrible person. Well, guess what? It's the hashtag resist crowd. It's the same women that went to the Women's March after President Trump was elected and dressed in female genitalia. It's the same people that believe the Russian collusion conspiracy lies and the media that preached it and preached it and preached it till everybody wanted to throw up. Those are the same people telling you you don't have a right to see transparency in your elections. What do y'all have to say about that? That's right. So here is what's going to happen with America First rallies. This is very important. We are coming out strong. And we are coming out very loud and very proud. And we are coming out like we did for President Trump at all these rallies because we have a message for the Democrats and the fake news media. You are not going to destroy our country. You are not going to shame us for being proud American patriots. You are not going to put us down for loving President Trump and what he did for the past 4 years. You see, they thought you were going to not come out anymore. They thought they have intimidated you. They thought you were defeated. They thought that you people were done. We're not done. No, we're not done. And I'll tell you why. Here, they don't understand why. You want to know why? Here's why. Because all of us are people that love this country. We love what it means to be an American. We don't care about people's skin color and gender and all of this identity politics garbage. We don't want to be divided. We want to be Americans together. Thank you. I love you too. You see, here's what I know about you because it's the same thing about me. We're grateful. We know that what it means to be an American is something special. We know that it's what people all over the world want. Right? And we know for a fact that people died and bled to give us these freedoms And we're so grateful for it. That's right. And God bless you. If you're a veteran in here, stand up. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. See, the veterans that serve this country, they're the greatest men and women in this nation. They sign up. None of these veterans signed up to go serve and protect our country because they wanted America to be a socialist nation. No. You signed up for freedom because you love it and you want to preserve it not only for yourself but your family, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and people in the future you know you'll never meet. And see, that's something that has been forgotten, and it means something. You see, there's something else I know about every single one of you. You're tired of the lies. You're tired of the moral degradation of our society. We don't want our children taught there's no such thing as gender. That's stupid. We don't want to pray to the climate gods and confess our sins and pass the Green New Deal. No, thank you. Electric vehicles are cool. I like them, and I think that's awesome technology, and we want to keep our earth clean, and we want the most beautiful earth in the whole world, but do we want to destroy the oil and coal industry? No. We don't want to do anything that destroys our economy. We want to build our jobs. But our government's been paying people to stay home, haven't they? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm not supposed to say it, but I really want to. Yeah, they've been paying people to stay home for a year, and guess what? What is that doing? Nobody wants to go to work. No one's going to work. It's hurting everything. That's right. We also need to end abortion. That's the biggest thing we need to do. Over 62 million people murdered in the womb, and none of our tax dollars should ever pay for it. We have a lot of work to do, America. And so this is why we're here. We're building hope. We're pulling everybody together because we're not finished. As a matter of fact, we're just getting started, aren't we? So you guys plan to stick around. I hope you're not going to leave anytime soon. No, you need to stay. So, number one, share this with your friends. Share this with your family. America is the greatest country in the world. Yes? My favorite president, President Trump. Your favorite president, President Trump. He has not quit. He's not given up. And he loves all of you. He loves you guys. And we love him, don't we? But here's what we need. That's right. Yep. And he loves you, and I guarantee you he's watching, so he knows you love him. Yep. All right, so starting today, America First policies are the way to save this country. Am I right? I need more people in Congress that believe in this, that don't want to be a swamp creature, that don't want to be bought off, that actually want to do the job. And it's a hard job. We give up a lot to do this job. I don't want to be there. I have a great life. I have a lot more fun at home with my family and my friends. But I'm there because I believe we have to save this country. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm with you. So I'm going to give up this microphone because there's someone else here that you definitely need to hear from because he's so great, and I'm so happy I serve with him. But most importantly, remember this, and I want you to rise up. I want you to tell all of your friends and your family that from now on, it's people over politicians, and we're going to save America and stop socialism by putting America first. God bless you guys.
All right. A very inspirational message from Congresswoman Greene. And that's the first time I've actually had a chance to hear her speak live. And she sounds very familiar, and the message is very familiar of what we heard with President Trump. A lot of common sense in terms of politics, a lot of common sense solutions to a lot of problems that we have in today, and that's why it resonates so well with the crowd. If you're just now joining us, we are live in the Villages here in Central Florida. We just heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Up next, Matt Gaetz, Congressman Matt Gaetz here in Florida. Local time here, about 7:30. That speech went on for about 40 minutes. I can only imagine, we might get about that same from Matt Gaetz as well. But we're glad that you're joining us here, and as you heard, she is rolling out a very much America First policy, and this is people over politicians, and that's kind of a common sense approach to a lot of things we've heard before. Let's see if we have another introduction right now. Was thinking that we had a, well, I guess not.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
Please welcome.
Where should we go? Marjorie Taylor Greene asked me to kick off the America First rally tour. The Villages, I said. Thank you all so much. I cannot tell you how much this means to me to have you here supporting Marjorie and I. I'm a marked man in Congress. I'm a canceled man in some corners of the internet. I might be a wanted man by the deep state, but I am a Florida man, and it is good to be home. You're the lucky ones. You got in. There are more than 1,000 people outside that wanted to be here. And I think 2 of them might have been Antifa. There is not a strong Antifa chapter in the Villages. I don't think any of the people on the Republican side running for president in 2024 could draw a crowd this big if their name wasn't Donald Trump. And so today, we send a strong message to the weak establishment in both parties. America First isn't going away, we're going on tour. Here in Florida and across this great country, we love America so much, and we will not wave the flag of surrender in the face of the Democrats, the socialists, the deep state, or the establishment. America is too precious, we love her too much, and we will never stop fighting for her. This is our first stop, but there will be many more, and America's greatest president and the undisputed leader of the Republican Party, Donald J. Trump, might join us on a few, or we might join him. We have never abandoned Trump, and he has never abandoned America. He is still fighting for us. He will continue to fight for us, and we're going to have his back when he does. The way forward is not a repackaged, regurgitated version of Paul Ryan's Better Way. And it's certainly not the Green New Deal and the socialist way. Our way, America first, will rule the day. Isn't it obvious? It's our ideas, it's our patriotism and positive populism that fills the rallies from the prairies of Wyoming to the villages of Florida. On immigration and trade, we will stand with America's workers, not the socialist billionaires or the corporate woke-topians. We will oppose the forever wars that send America's bravest patriots to faraway lands for unknowable gain. And we will stand with American families against the genderless, blue-haired woke-topians of the Chaz. They tried to make part of Seattle an autonomous zone. Then they took over the Democratic Party, and they actually made the Democratic Party their autonomous zone. We will make sure that America is an autonomous zone for freedom and liberty and success and prosperity, and we will not apologize for it 1 minute. To my friend, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, we know Georgia needs you. There's a lot going on in Georgia, but you should consider Florida your second home. You would make a great Florida woman. You know why they go after Marjorie the way they do. She is an unbossed Congresswoman. Unbossed, unbought, unbowed. That is the mantra of America First. We will not cave. We will not cave to the foreign interests abroad or the special interests here at home. We will put our people first, and we will not make exception for that. And so, if you believe that America is a wonderful country, not an intractably racist country, if you believe that MAGA is patriotic, not deplorable, if you stand for the flag and kneel in prayer, if you want to build America up and not tear her down, then welcome, my fellow patriots. This is the movement for you. You belong with us to help our country to be prosperous and patriotic and unafraid. And so this tour is an invitation to our fellow patriots to join a positive populist movement. And we need our fellow patriots to join us because it is no longer just the red team against the blue team in politics. It's the establishment against the rest of us. And you know what? There's more of us than there are of them. They know it. That's why they're so afraid. That's why they hope that this movement dies. But we will never let her die because we will never let America die. From the deep state in government to the deep fakes in media, they try to defame, deplatform, and destroy that which they cannot control. And they could not control Trump, and they could not control me, and they certainly can't control Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Big government, big media, big tech, they would all breathe a sigh of relief if Marjorie Taylor Greene and I were no longer in the Congress fighting for you. They lie about us because we tell the truth about them, and we are not going to stop. And we are not powerless in this fight. We are a powerful movement. You are powerful people. As President Trump reminds us, we are the elite now. And so let our beautiful, cherished Constitution be our guide. We have a right to speak freely and to assemble, and we better use it. The terms of service on Twitter should never be more important than the values that undergird the First Amendment of our Constitution. And we need more than just a legalistic definition of the First Amendment. We need a culture of free speech in America. Can you believe the Facebook Oversight Board took President Trump off of their platform? What does that say? They're afraid of the truth. YouTube. Thank goodness YouTube does not define the truth or falsity related to the coronavirus. I think they do, but we shouldn't let them. YouTube would have banned Galileo if they had the chance. But the internet hall monitors out in Silicon Valley, they can't cancel this rally or this movement or this tour or this congressman. We have a right to bear arms in this country, and we better use it. The Second Amendment is not about hunting. It is not about sports shooting. The Second Amendment is about maintaining within the citizenry the ability to maintain an armed rebellion against a tyrannical government if necessary. And you know what? People may not like that. That might not be politically correct, but that is the truth. And oftentimes the truth is politically incorrect. We have a right to be free of unreasonable search and seizure, and we better protect it. For anyone who thinks that the deep state doesn't exist, if you have any of those friends that say, oh, if you think the deep state exists, you're a conspiracy theorist. Just look at what we've seen. An FBI lawyer changed evidence before a secret court to have the opportunity to surveil someone that they thought was close to President Trump so that they could exact their politics through the FBI. Former FBI disgraced director Jim Comey admitted under Congress that he leaked information for the purpose of getting a political investigation going. The former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, came before Congress and said, there is not mass collection of American data for surveillance. Turns out there was mass collection of American data for surveillance. Look at what they did to General Michael Flynn, a patriot for our country. Michael Flynn was going to reorganize the intelligence community and say that we had to stop just focusing on Russia and we needed to rise to the challenge to confront China, and they prosecuted him for it. The deep state is real. It is in places you wouldn't even think. The deep state is even at the post office. The United States Postal Service has an internet covert operations program. The post office. You know what? Deliver my mail on time and on budget before you spy on the social media proclivities and activities of our fellow Americans. I am proud to tell you that Marjorie Taylor Greene and I have introduced legislation to abolish the deep state internet covert operations program at the post office. We have a right to confront our accusers in this country. How about that? There can be no due process here if the only process due to conservatives is to see leaks embroidered onto lies, then just endlessly repeated by the America Last media. I hope you guys show the 1,000 people outside that wanted to be in here to hear this message. But there are sometimes exceptional journalists who turn the cameras onto the liars. And in that vein, let me say, thank God for Project Veritas. It's not often you get an admission on video. But a CNN director on video said the reason they were repeating these lies and propagandizing my life is because I'm effective. Because I stand in the way of an agenda that will hurt my fellow Americans. They will not silence me, we will not back down, and the truth will prevail. CNN is just the worst. I already know, so today is my birthday. And I already know how CNN's gonna report it. Matt Gaetz has wild parties surrounded by beautiful women in the villages. So just get ready for it. Marjorie Taylor Greene and I work in Washington, but we are not of Washington. And I must honestly tell you that the leaders of both parties in Washington, D.C. don't work for America First. They work for permanent Washington. Washington PACs fund their campaigns. Washington lobbyists broker their power. Their place in Washington drives every decision they make all throughout the day. And unfortunately, the wants and needs of the people often suffer. You know, the swamp is not just dangerous because it holds unruly creatures. There's a muck that sucks you in, drags you down, limits your escape. Marjorie and I are not powerful by typical measurements in Washington. She's lost her committees. I may lose mine. But we have a power that they can never take away, and it is tied to our connection to the people in this great country. You know who the fighters are. You can distinguish the phonies and the fakes from the real deal, and President Trump gave us the opportunity to see who is fighting for us clearly and decisively. America First means actually leaving Washington and going out into America. Part of being populist is showing that you are popular. Maybe our leadership should give that a try. If Liz Cheney could even find Wyoming on a map and went there, she would find a lot of very angry cowboys who are not happy with the fact that she's sort of for every war. War in Syria, for it. War against Trump and his supporters, for it. War against the Republican conference, war against her own voters. Well, it appears that enough of my colleagues on the Republican side have seen things our way, the way that we kind of laid out 3-4 months ago. And it appears that Liz Cheney may no longer be the chair of the Republican conference. This might be the first war she's ever sought to end. You know, the neoconservative war on the world might have been more tolerable if it wasn't also a war on the pocketbooks of so many Americans. Like, during the Obama, Bush, Cheney eras of interventionism, our gas prices were just through the roof. And during the Trump era of peace and prosperity and recognition for Israel and not starting new wars, actually, gas got a lot less expensive. So now, with a peace dividend, we have fewer of our bravest, most patriotic Americans coming home without arms and legs, and gas doesn't cost an arm and a leg in the Trump era. But you see now it's going up because of the bad decisions made by Joe Biden. We must put our citizens first. And speaking of citizens and citizenship, I don't think we should give citizenship to people who don't come to our country legally. Americans are dreamers too. But the Biden immigration plan is no dream, it's more of a nightmare. And there's this political coalition on immigration that team up to screw over the American people. So on the left, it's all about political power. That's the whole reason they are for limitless legal, illegal immigration, whatever they got to do to get people across the border. There are folks who were remaining in Mexico for their asylum claims to be resolved. Keep in mind, less than 1% of these people actually have valid asylum claims. But they were staying in Mexico, and now Biden is getting them in Mexico and distributing them in the United States as if they're going to show up for some asylum hearing. Do not let the Republican Party regress on this issue. Donald Trump showed clearly that we are not the party of amnesty. And so why do Democrats need this? It's a political refill. When you look at the major cities controlled by Democrats, San Francisco, LA, Chicago, New York, Detroit, they're in ruin. And so what they have to do is they have to have a political refill of a new population because they have failed the voters who have trusted them the most, oftentimes for generations. Now, I guess you need new blood when the old blood is toxified with pollutants, spilling in the streets in violence, and pulsing with addiction. And on the right, we've got establishment Republicans who are just all too willing to be shills for big corporations. And we got too many big corporations that are just fine with illegal immigration. They sort of diminish their risk by using employee leasing companies, and that is a basis to keep wages down for the American people or legal immigrants who have come here according to our process. It's about money and it's about power, and we have to stand against it. But if we want our politics and our policies to get better, if we want our trade deals to get better, if we want our money to be sounder, if we want our borders to have integrity, then our elections must have integrity. And the Democrats and all their buddies on these big corporate boards, they're telling us that getting an ID requirement to vote is racist. Now keep in mind, the very people who are telling you that getting an ID to vote would be racist want to require vaccine passports. So if an ID, well, I'll put it this way. If requiring vaccine passports isn't racist, then requiring an ID to vote isn't racist. And I think my colleague, Burgess Owens, said it best. Burgess Owens is a black Republican, serves from Utah, was in the NFL, tackled OJ. And Burgess says, requiring an ID to vote isn't racist. Assuming that black people can't get an ID is what is racist. And so we support the brave patriots in Georgia and in Florida and all across this country that want to protect the integrity of the vote. And that is going to be a major part of this tour that Marjorie and I bring across the country, demanding voter integrity. I do not diminish the challenge that is ahead. Democrats control some very powerful institutions. They control the presidency, the House, the Senate, and they're using that power to try to demoralize and at times even target their political enemies. But in America, patriotism always shines through when we demonstrate toughness and grit. In 1772, Sam Adams sent James Warren around the communities of Plymouth. And the goal was to try to excite the notion of independence in people and to get them engaged and thoughtful and proactive regarding the notion of a new great American nation. The patriotic spirit was always coming and going, and there were times it was more going than coming. And Warren reported back to Adams, all are dead, and we cannot raise the dead without a miracle. Speaking of the patriots and those that we needed to maintain a revolution. And Adams replied, never despair. Let that be the motto of you and me. All are not dead, and where there is but a spark of patriotism, we will rekindle it. My friends, that spark is a raging inferno here in Florida and across the great MAGA nation. This is not a movement for the timid or the tired. This is a movement about winning. Winning so much that we get tired of it. After all, isn't that what we were promised? God bless you. Thank you. Thanks for having my back. Thanks for fighting with us. Let's go get them.
All right, well, that's a lot of what we thought we'd hear from Matt Gaetz as they wrap up an evening with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz here in the Villages in Central Florida. And what a night of patriotism at its finest. I will say stick around, because coming up, Liz Willis has an exclusive interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is set to be here at this particular point at any moment, so we'll definitely turn it over. Matter of fact, I just saw her walk out on the stage right now with Matt Gaetz. All right, well, hang on. Let's see what's going to happen.
You're over here and I'm over
Oh,
there.
okay.
Hey, stick around. Stick around.
So
Don't go anywhere.
we just thought we'd have a little chat. Talk about our time in Congress, what we got to do. I know there's more waiting, so if you got to go, other folks can come in. But I wanted, there was a moment in Congress, kind of behind the scenes, that I got to observe, and I wanted to be able to share it with all of you. With some Republicans, there is a real fear that if you fight hard, if you stick your neck out, well, gosh, then people might write mean blog posts about you or say awful things about your family on Twitter. And so there was a feeling among some of our fellow Republicans that if we would just abandon Marjorie, if we would just send her to some basement office and pretend she didn't exist, that maybe people would be nicer to us. And a lot of those folks didn't even know this fantastic patriotic woman. And Marjorie gave a speech to our conference about her life, about her experiences, about her ideology, about her mistakes. And she won so many of them over. And my fiance Ginger said to me, why can't you do that? And I don't know, because I haven't really won that many over. But Marjorie, I wanted a chance for you to talk maybe less about policy, but more about the fantastic life you've led that has given all of us the great benefit of your public service.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. And Ginger, I don't know where you are right now, but honey, I'll talk to you about marriage later. It's okay. I've been married a long time. He's going to be fantastic. So I got judged very, very harshly by the media. They created a character of me that doesn't exist and decided to tell the whole world about this person. And the entire time, my husband, my kids, my family, my mom and my dad, and everyone we know was outraged at the media for what they were saying about me, because they knew that those things weren't true and that's not who I am. And so, just as Matt said, they attacked all the Republicans in the conference and wanted all of them to denounce me and stay away from me, and they wanted, like Matt just said, basically put me in a basement and make me ride out my 2 years, and they figured they could shame me, and I wouldn't say anything.
That means you're doing something good. They hate you. Keep it up.
Thank you. So, you know, it was at a time I hadn't even met all my Republican colleagues yet, and you know what I did? I stood up in front of the conference, and this was not public because our Republican conference meetings are private, and I decided to let all my colleagues know exactly who I am: a wife, a mother, a Christian, a business owner, and very much a normal person that makes mistakes, but I'm willing to say when I'm wrong. And that's what all of us are. We're regular people, right? And we don't need the shiny, perfect politicians because those are fake. Perfect people don't exist. But courageous, bold, freedom-loving, patriotic people exist, and I'm so excited I'm sitting right beside one right here on the stage.
So during this time, Marjorie, you take a pretty unprecedented tactical move, and you hold a press conference. And the media brought knives to a flamethrower fight because you torched them. You pointed out the hypocrisy and the double standard from these media companies who lied to our country for years about President Trump, and they have the nerve to now come and question you. Why don't more of our colleagues do that?
They should, Matt. You're absolutely right. They should. Because here's the deal. The media, they do lie. They only take a little piece of what they want you to know about or what they want the people to know about. Then they twist it and they turn it. And they're fact-checking us right now on CNN, by the way. That's kind of fun. Oh, you know, hey, Matt, did you know CNN has lost half of their ratings?
No.
So they need us.
The other half are just televisions that are left on in some of the nursing homes where Governor Cuomo put people with COVID back in.
Right. Because they were there by themselves because of COVID-19. That's a terrible shame. So they do it to themselves. You know, here we are, and Matt and I really want to protect all of our freedoms. We do. And freedom of the press is an amazing thing. And we want to protect that. We don't want government, state-run media. But the media does it to themselves. And they don't realize that all of you are sick of it. You're sick and tired of it. Right?
So, Marjorie, we've got this battle going on right now for the soul of the Republican Party. And after Trump became a Florida man again, there were a lot of these people that just thought, well, Biden presents the perfect opportunity to go back to normal, to put the lobbyists in charge, to just kind of slowly watch America slip into a state of decline. They want us to go back to being an amnesty party, to being a war party, to being a party that's for every trade deal, even if it really hurts our workers at the benefit of some foreign country or some special interest. And so give a little flavor to everyone here about the challenge we face in Washington, because let me tell you something. We don't get this kind of treatment in Washington. You're being a lot nicer to us than we're used to there. And give some, well, I love you too.
So one of the first times I really went to Matt was, I think this was literally, day number 1 or 2, first week. And I went in his office and I had a question for him because I'm used to owning and running a company where we make plans and we work really hard and we achieve our goals and we serve our customers. I said, Matt, when do we start getting together and planning things and like working on how to stop the Democrats and what things we need to work on? And Matt said,
I'm still waiting. I've been there for 4 years. You know, and Marjorie came in just like a businesswoman. She said, all right, they've got the majority, but we've got seats on committees. Let's target the most important objectives. Let's find out which members of our team are good at certain areas. Let's try to help people that need to develop more to be good communicators. Let's get the right policy guidance for people that might need that. And
Wow. Matt, that makes so much sense. What? That's what we should be doing.
right, but like, so I didn't go to the like Republican retreat because I feel like the Republicans have been in a constant state of retreat. I'm ready for an advance, not a retreat. And they go to the retreat, and basically the whole retreat is Kevin McCarthy fighting with Liz Cheney. And I'm watching this thinking, why did they not listen to us like 3-4 months ago when we said this is not going to work, right? We're all about inviting people's input and their thought process to the political right, but when somebody's fundamental view is that we don't need to work on election integrity, we don't need to worry about the crisis at the border, we could find 4 more countries to invade before lunchtime tomorrow, that person should not be the spokesperson of the Republican Party. We knew that then. I'm glad our colleagues have caught up. Maybe we're the leaders, Marjorie. They follow us.
You know, I didn't go to the Republican conference trip either. I didn't go on that retreat. So I don't know how much you guys know, but we already tried to remove Liz Cheney as our chairwoman. There was a very big effort there. We voted to kick her out a few months ago. We were ahead on this. We don't understand why it took leadership and everybody else to get to this point. But that's the problem, isn't it? It's exactly the problem. They don't understand what Matt just described about formulating plans and organizing and putting people in charge where their strengths are and developing something that's going to work and aggressively work while the Democrats are systematically tearing down our country and burning it to the ground.
Well, money plays a big role. And I could just tell you, there are 3 members of Congress who don't take corporate PAC money. Ted Cruz, Matt Gaetz, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And
that's right. As a matter of fact, I think the $5 that someone donates to us means more to us and your support and your thank yous and your kind letters and the wonderful things you say mean more to us than
your prayers.
Your prayers, absolutely.
Some of us need those more than others at times.
That's right, that's right. So speaking of certain types of Republicans, the kinds that really don't appreciate the president and want to go along with insanity, there's another little guy that we both know that might need a little visit, I think, maybe on our rally tour. Little Adam. Do you know who I'm talking about? He put together a PAC, speaking of PACs, and his is called Country First PAC. And his plan for the next 2 years is to get rid of Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. Because he thinks we're the problem in the Republican Party. What do you all think about that? He thinks there should be bipartisanship with the Democrat Socialists. How about that? Yeah, we don't agree, do we?
No, I think that for our movement to remain inspirational and successful and to draw people in, we have to show the ability to tell the truth about some of our own. And if we have people as Republicans who care more about the PACs donating to them than the people they're supposed to serve, you should know that. If last year Liz Cheney raised more money from PACs than from actual human beings, you should know that. If Adam Kinzinger wants to be the front man for the establishment to bring our party back to the days of Mitt Romney and John Kasich, and you know what? I'm not going back. This is Donald Trump's party, and I'm a Donald Trump Republican.
Yeah. Trump is the leader of the Republican Party.
I know what he's going to say when we talk tonight. He's going to be like, Matt, I've got to go to the villages. I miss the villages. I say, they're ready for you, Mr. President. They're ready.
Okay, let's tell him a few little stories.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, I did talk to one Democrat recently. Just one. It's a lady from New York 14. You see, I'm from Georgia 14, Georgia 14th district, and she's from New York's 14th district. AOC. Wait. I mean Sandy Cortez. So little Sandy wrote a little 14-page piece of legislation called the Green New Deal. Is anyone familiar? Little Sandy has a degree in economics. I have a business degree, and I'm a successful business owner. But Sandy has worked in the restaurant industry, and that's a hard job. I waited tables in college, so I commend her for that, and I'm serious. But I have a real big problem with the Green New Deal. It's going to destroy our economy. And it's going to hand over our energy needs to China, who, by the way, has no interest in bowing to the climate gods. As a matter of fact, President Xi has said that he's going to increase production and increase carbon output to 2035 when Joe Biden says he's cutting ours in half by 2030. I don't think that's a very smart strategy, do you? So I'd been tweeting at AOC because social media seems to be the only way to talk to her, and she didn't tweet back, so I don't know what that's all about. But I've been saying I want to debate about the Green New Deal. Because we owe it to the American people to debate the Green New Deal from the opposite sides, because it's the American people that it would truly affect. And so Matt and I were hanging out in the chamber, watching the insanity that goes on every day. I think Jerry Nadler was taking a nap. Nancy Pelosi was not up there in the chair where she's supposed to be, like she never is. Where does she go? Do we even know?
She's off ripping up speeches.
Yeah. She's getting her hair blown out.
There's nothing wrong with getting your hair blown out.
That's true.
Nothing at all.
Matt does have the greatest hair, everybody. So I said, oh my gosh, there's Sandy. She's down there. I see her. So I hopped up, went down, and I was like, hey, I'm Marjorie Taylor Greene.
At this point, I gather everybody in the back, and I'm like, this is going to be good.
I'm like, glad I caught you here where we work, or something like that. But I'd like to debate you on the Green New Deal. Oh. Well, first off, she wasn't very happy to talk to me. I don't understand why. And she said, well, have you even read it? And I was like, oh my goodness, she sounds like my kids did when they were in high school. I said, I've read most of it. She goes, well, if you would read it, then we could talk about debating it. I was like, okay, I think I'll finish the 14 pages, and then we'll debate it. And she said, well, you want to debate like on national television and pay-per-view. I said, yeah. Yes, I do. I want as many people to see it as possible. And she couldn't believe that. And I said, here's the situation. I'm a business owner. I sign paychecks. I've created jobs. I build the economy. You've never done that before, and you have no right to introduce the Green New Deal that's going to destroy our economy. Then she told me something I didn't know. She said, well, I've launched restaurants in New York. She's launched restaurants in New York. But here's the deal, guess what? She didn't own one. She didn't work through the past year where they could barely keep their doors open, and many of them closed down. She has no clue what it's like to try to bring customers in, try to make and keep your employees on the payroll, and pay the rent, and pay the bills, and hope to God that maybe you have a little money left to pay yourself. She doesn't understand that, but she's got a degree in economics and she's launched restaurants before.
Well, she is not my least favorite member of Congress. That goes to Adam Schiff. This guy, the lies just pour out of him. And what I wonder is, like, did they think we were never going to get the truth? Did they think we wouldn't finally see that the whole Russia hoax was built on a lie? Did they think that President Trump wouldn't release the transcript from the Ukraine call? These people had a bloodlust for impeachment, and it hurt our country. We could have done so much more if they would have seen the potential in coming together and advancing our nation. But yeah, if there was one member I had to get rid of, if I had Maxine or Schiff, it would be a tough one. It would be a tough one.
You know what? I have to tell you, aren't we all thankful for the hard work that Congressman Matt Gaetz did during this Russia hoax? Thank you. He defended our president. He fought for him. He fought for our country against the big lie, which is Russian collusion conspiracy theories.
Thank you. Thank you. I tell you, they always come for the fighters, don't they? They don't come for the meek. They come for the fighters. And, it's easy to see now how fake all of that was after we saw Mueller testify. But at the time, we had a bunch of Republicans embracing Mueller. Paul Ryan and, to an extent, Trey Gowdy. They were saying, well, if we just let Mueller do his work, and then we just have to hope Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong. And there were people like Jim Jordan and John Ratcliffe and others who saw through it. And by the way, you know who was another hero during the Russia hoax? The best governor in America, Ron DeSantis. Oh, they love DeSantis. They love DeSantis. They got their vaccinations in the villages. Yeah, you hear that, Ron? Yeah, I remember campaigning with Ron DeSantis when we could have had the whole campaign meet in an elevator and still have room for social distancing. But he's done a great job. He's shown true leadership. And as we take this tour around the country, we want to highlight America First leaders all across the country who need that, because when you're willing to draft in with the establishment, there's so much support for you. The lobbyists will tell you how to vote. The PAC fundraisers will pour the money on you. They'll tell you when the embassy parties are, and it's a really nice life. But if you kind of post up on them like DeSantis has, like Kristi Noem has in South Dakota, then they come for you. I love you too. Don't say that too loud. CNN will be asking if you're like my ex-wife or something.
I want to bring something up to you all. I think it's very important for us to recognize. I really want to say how much I'm thankful to my husband and my children and my family, and how thankful we are to Ginger and all of Matt's family. They really mean the world to us. They're our support. They're our backbone.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Ginger
better
and
than
I'll
family.
we'll get married soon, and when you say your vows, they say, do you take them for better or worse? And a ginger won't just come with a ring, she'll come with a record. So, thank you.
All right, I got one more request for you guys. How about singing happy birthday to the congressman? All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matt. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for supporting our tour. Thank you for supporting Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. The best is yet to come. God bless you.
All right, that was a nice little surprise after Gaetz' solo speech. It was kind of nice to have them together on stage, and I think that took the crowd a little bit by surprise. But what a great few minutes that was for them to be able to spend some time with each other, engage and talk about what it's like in Washington and what it's like to work with the establishment and with the rhinos. They talked about the deep state. So hey, it's been nice to, so it's great. It's been fun. Now we are waiting for Marjorie Taylor Greene to come over here. We've got a few minutes we'll spend with her before we got to cut into alternative programming. So we're hoping to get that done here in the next minute or so. And hopefully we can kind of get her thoughts, Liz, on if this is something that's going to continue. As he said, as we go across this state and the country, we can only imagine this is just the beginning. So I think we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene coming over here just shortly. We've got her staff trying to make their way over here, but what a great opportunity it's going to be. But don't you think, Liz, this is something we're going to see over the next couple of months, this duo hitting the road?
Yeah, and that's what I'm about to ask her as soon as they come over. Again, right now, we're waiting for Marjorie Taylor Greene to be escorted over. We've talked to her comms director, and we've got an exclusive interview lined up with her in just one moment. So she actually has a little secret passageway that we're waiting for her to come out. We've got some questions for her. Mainly, I want to talk to her about this America First tour that she mentioned. What is it? Where is it going to be? Can we expect a schedule for other states around? And, why she's focusing on other states, not just the state of Georgia as the 14th district's representative in the state of Georgia. So we'll see about that. And we're just excited to talk to her. It really is cool. Thank you so much. I'm from the state of Georgia, so I'm excited to talk to one of my representatives. And again, we're waiting. If you have a question for her, drop that down in the YouTube super chat, tag @LizWillis. We got to wrap this up by 8:30, so we have 9 minutes. You guys get your questions in right now while we wait for her. It could be any second. She's going to come out of these doors right behind me. So we're going to keep an eye on those. Again, if you have questions for Marjorie, we have an exclusive interview coming right up. We'll be the first ones to post. My throat, dang it.
It's hot.
My throat's dry. Here, will you take it for a second?
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, it's one of those things. It's been kind of a long day for us. Late night travels, not the best for your voice, but yeah, just moments away from that. And let us know what your thoughts are on what you've heard so far today, because it's been a very optimistic, I guess, viewpoint that they're sharing about the future of Republicans. And it seems like this is all meant to get out a lot of the rhino bases that's in the Republican establishment and to try to move forward with more of a conservative base. And I think it was interesting that they even said this is Donald Trump's Republican Party, not the Mitt Romneys, not the Republicans of long ago. This is Donald Trump's Republican Party. And of course, the crowd liked that as well. So if this is any indication what we're going to see in the next couple of years, especially going into the midterms and beyond, I am ecstatic about that, because I think that we have come a long way. And they talked about the first 2 years of the Trump administration, how rhino Republicans just simply did not get on board with doing some of the things that Trump and his administration wanted to do. So it took them a couple years to get past them, but I think they've all been kind of exposed to all of us of who those rhino Republicans are that stand in front of a Trump agenda. And hopefully we can get some thoughts on here. Okay, we'll go ahead and pass the mic over to Liz. You got a special guest.
Thank you, guys. Hi, we're going to be joined right here with Miss Greene. Hi.
Which way do we
It's going to be this camera. I'm Liz. I'm from the state of Georgia. So, first of all, thank you, Atlanta.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
high school?
Parkview High School. It's a public high school in Gwinnett County.
Yep, I know exactly where it is.
You're doing a great job. Thank you. So, you just got off the stage here in the Villages. This was the first ever America First rally. How did it feel for you to be up there with Matt Gaetz, and what can we expect from these America First rallies and the tour? Are we expecting to see more of them?
Oh, you're definitely going to see more of them. We are so excited. As you can tell, the crowd was fired up. All of America is hungry for this. We aren't going to stop. We are never going to quit, and we're going to keep fighting for America first. President Trump showed us exactly what it's like for these 4 years and how to lead and the things that we need to be doing for our nation. And so Matt and I decided, we were like, look, we have to do something, and we're going to hit the road, bring everybody out, bring people together, put America first front and center, and so we're going to keep fighting. So we'll be releasing more dates and locations very soon.
I'm anxious. I know I'm going to be bothering Nick for all of those dates so we can be at every single one. But our audience absolutely loved watching you here today, and a lot of people said you're somewhat of a female President Trump version. You're really out there just fighting, and you get this criticism, but you seem to take it like a champ, and you just come out stronger and better than before. So one of the questions, I went to our YouTube, we had over 10,000 waiting for this, but they wanted to know how you deal with the hate. I know it seems like a simple question, but I think we can all relate to it. So
No, I think that's a very important question. So what I decided is the media doesn't define who I am, because the person that they're presenting to the world is not who I am. I know exactly who I am. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. My family loves me. They know who I am. All of my friends, everyone in my entire life doesn't believe and says that all these lies in the media aren't true. So why should I care? So I made a very important decision, is to continue fighting, continue going forward every single day, and not let the liars hurt me. And I know that the people of this country are more important than the news articles, and that's not why I ran for Congress. I didn't run for Congress for great news stories. I ran for Congress to save this country.
well said. I have a lot to learn from you because being in media is difficult as well. But something I noticed that you did earlier, you actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like you got to take a tour outside and see some of the patriots who didn't get to come inside. This reminds me of President Trump's rallies and when he would walk past the beast because of the overflow at his events. And to see it here, how many people do you think you saw outside? Why did you do that? I mean, what did you see out there?
There was over 1,000 people outside, and the overflow that weren't able to come in. And I can't tell you, we were heartbroken that they couldn't come in. So this is my big promise to everyone. With our next location, we are picking a much bigger venue because we want everyone to be able to come. So if you travel from a long distance to come to our next America First rally, we're going to work very hard to make sure that you're able to come in because you deserve to be there. And these America First rallies are for the people, they're for you, and that's why we're going to make sure that you're there. So we went outside because we wanted to shake hands and say hello to all the people that were out there because everyone's important. And so, yeah, so we're going to make sure that we've got a much bigger place next time. It's our first one.
I know, first one. I saw it pop up like a week ago, and it made my day. I was like, we have to be there. Your staff is great. They've been wonderful. Now, to go back on something you mentioned here today, back to the AOC debate, do we think there's a possibility for that? Because I know personally, I want to see, I'm not into sports. I don't really care to watch them. I know you're a competitive athlete. But for me, this would be like my Super Bowl. So what are the odds of it happening and us being able to see a debate soon?
Well, she didn't say no. She said if you read it. So I read it that night. I was like, okay, a few more pages, big deal.
Good for you.
Yeah, so no, I'm going to set up the time. I'm going to set up the place, and she better show up. I'll call her out every single day and make sure that she knows exactly when to be there. I'll probably stop by and visit her office and give her a personal invitation and shake hands with her staff if they'll talk to me and make sure that she knows exactly when and where it is, and she should be there. I can't imagine her not showing up and letting people know how important the Green New Deal is to her, because I'm very much going to be there to let the American people know how unimportant the Green New Deal is to me and everyone else.
Agreed. Now, my last question, it's more of a comment, but I want to hear what you have to say about it. You've already gotten more views on your speech, over 200-something thousand, than new jobs that Biden created in the past month. The jobs number came out this month, a measly 266,000. We saw some tweets from you earlier, really going after it, giving us your opinion. But yeah, what do you think we can do to fix that? I mean, it was awful.
Yeah, we have to stop being a socialist country. We're a socialist country right now. We're paying people to stay home. So why does anyone want to go out and apply for a job when they're getting paid by the government to stay home? Those are the policies that are killing our country, and that's why I was calling them out today, because I know as a business owner that I can't hire people if people are sitting at home on their sofa or going on vacation or doing whatever they want to do, happily taking a government check. So we have to stop these government handouts, stop being a socialist country, and that's how we're going to get people back to work and grow our economy. We shouldn't even be a shutdown economy to begin with, so the whole thing is ridiculous.
All right, wonderful. And this was a great thing to see here today. All the people together, hardly any masks. They didn't seem to care. They just wanted to celebrate freedom and support you guys. So a wonderful turnout. We're so excited to see the rest of this America First tour. And where can our audience look to find more information? Is there a website or is your Twitter the best place?
My website, MarjorieTaylorGreene.com, is a good place to go. You can support me there. You can also find out information about more rallies and tours. Also, any of my social media, any of Matt's social media, you can also find it there, Congressman Matt Gaetz. And we'll be pumping those dates out, and we will make sure y'all are there and covering, because I love you guys.
We love you more, I promise.
Such a good job.
We really do.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. This was incredible. Even when you were speaking, he looked at me, he's like, man, she's entertaining. Like, she can talk. I'm like, I know. I got to watch you in Vero 2 weeks ago, and it was wonderful. My mom watched as well, and she loves you. So, all right, we're going to wrap this up.
Moms are the best.
Mine's the best. I'm sure you're a great one, but mine's the best. I'm going to hand this over to Brian, wrap this up. Thank you so much, Miss Greene.
Thanks, guys. She is the best, and there's a reason why I am a fan for always. High five for you. Keep fighting it up. Keep fighting the good fight. Like you said, the target's on her. It's because she is speaking the truth, and that's why the target's on you right now. Anyway, as always, we appreciate your time and your service here at the station. We've got plenty of programming coming up. Don't forget to go to our website, RSBN, RSBNetwork.com, RSBNetwork.com for more information on what we have programmed. Until next time, goodbye. God bless. We'll see you next time.